In this video, we're going to go over how to just use WordPress only, not a page builder, to build out beautiful web pages. For example, a beautiful web page like this, it's only using the WordPress block builder, and you can accomplish anything that you could accomplish with a regular page builder, except you have the simplicity and the speed performance gains that you get with just using WordPress. We're going to go over a ton in this video. It's going to be information packed. You are going to learn how to build total websites, and it's going to be dimensified. It's going to become easy for you. There's nothing that you're going to need to purchase to apply any of the principles in this video. Everything we're going to be using is free tools. That's what I'm talking about, using just WordPress. It's a lot more simple. You're going to learn ways to build websites and web layouts faster than ever. So if you're ready to learn how to use the WordPress block builder to its maximum potential, give this video a thumbs up right now. Buckle in. Let's get started. Now, before we get started, I just want to quickly go over why you want to spend the time and make the choice of building your websites using the WordPress block builder versus one of these fancy page building tools that you might have come across. There's a big change on the horizon for people who have websites that it matters to you if it ranks in Google or not, and it's something called Core Web Vitals. It goes into effect May 2021. It actually came out in 2020, but Google announced that in 2021, this is going to be a significant ranking factor for your website. So if getting visitors to your website matters to you, you have to pay attention to what these core web vitals are. Here's a post on Google's website regarding web vitals and what they are. And essentially, to make it simple to understand, it has to do with website performance, how fast your website loads. There are primarily these three metrics, but there's more than just these three metrics. Now, some of these are directly related to your web hosting quality, and some of them are with the tools that you use, and then some of them are with how you use the tools that you're building your website with. Now, one of the main core reasons why you're going to want to choose to build your website with the WordPress block builder Gutenberg over one of these other page builders is because the code output that comes out of the block builder more closely resembles hand coding when compared to one of these page builders. So the code that is going to be loaded when someone visits your website is a lot more optimized and it's cleaner. And the other main reason is that's the direction that WordPress is headed in, all the development of WordPress. So the first step is to go over what you need. Now in this video, I'm not going to go over setting up web hosting, but like I said a moment ago, one of the core web vitals is based upon your web hosting or the quality of your web hosting. So there's two web hosting services that I would recommend you check into if you have a poor performing web hosting service. One of them is NameHero. You can go to WPCrafter.com/NameHero. That will lock you into an exclusive 70% off discount, or actually it's up to 70% off. It's very affordable. It ends up being just a few dollars per month. Now, the other web hosting service, and this is the one that I personally use, there's a little bit more to setting it up, but the performance is much more significant, and that's Cloudways. And you can go to WPCrafter.com/Cloudways. Now, there's also a coupon to get a discount for this down below in the video description. You'll want to enter that in. It's going to save you some money per month for the first 3 or 4 months. I use this. It costs a tiny bit more, but it's really not that much more expensive. And I'll link down below to a video where I go through the entire setup of Cloudways. So I'm assuming you already have your web hosting set up and you already have WordPress installed on your hosting account. So now let's go over what you need to install on your website. To be able to get the most out of the WordPress block builder, we need to add a free plugin that's going to give us the structural blocks, the mobile responsive options, some efficiency tools like copying and pasting styles, and also a useful set of blocks that are typical on most web pages. And the name of this free plugin is Cadence Cadence blocks. So I'm going to go to plugins, click on add new, and over here I'll enter in Cadence blocks. And here it is. I'm going to click on install now, and then I'll activate it. All right, after I activate it, it just takes me to its settings panel here. This is if I want to just change any of the settings. We're not really going to need to be right here. However, there is a Facebook group for Cadence users if you want to connect in with the community where you can ask questions and get help. That's where you'd want to do it. Now, you're also going to need a WordPress theme. You might already have one, and Cadence blocks will work with any WordPress theme. However, they also have a free WordPress theme that has some really nice integrations with the blocks package right here, as well as some templates that are using the WordPress block builder. I'm going to use it for this website. So I'm going to go to Appearance. I'll click on Themes. Then I'll click on Add New. And I can go here and search for Cadence. And here it is, the Cadence theme. You'll want to choose this one. And I'll click on Install. And now I'll click on Activate. You should have a message up here if you went with the Cadence theme, and it will prompt you to install their starter templates. And that's going to give you the templates inside of WordPress if you wanted them. I'm going to go ahead and manually install that plugin. So it's Plugins, Add New. And where it says search plugins, I'm going to type Cadence. And it's right here, Starter Templates by Cadence WP. And I'll go ahead and install this and activate it. When you activate it, it's going to ask you if you want templates for Gutenberg or Elementor. And we're going to want templates with Gutenberg. And these are templates that are available. They're all free except this one here that says membership. Other than that, these are going to all be free, and you can click on one and you can literally change the colors site-wide for the template by choosing some of these alternative options right here. And you can even change the font options. You see how I'm able to do that by just choosing it. And this is a full website. It's going to have all of these included pages. You can easily bolt on e-commerce tools if you want, like WooCommerce or anything like that. I'll take it how it comes. And I have an option to import a single page, but I'm going to go ahead and click on full site, and then I'll click on start importing. And basically it's going to install this website on my website. Okay, now that it's done, I'll click on finished, view your site, and I've got the full designed website right here with colors and font choices. So now that we have everything installed, let's go into step 2, which is understanding the 3 C's of website building. And this is actually something that I came up with, the 3 C's of website building. And let me explain, but what I'll do is create a new page and I'll explain it from there. And it's going to make total sense to you. So I'm going to go to Pages, I'll click on Add New, and I'll give this page a title. So the 3 C's is a very simple concept to understand, and every single web page on the internet can be broken down into these 3 C's. The first C stands for container, and the second C stands for columns, and then the third C stands for content. Let me show you this in action. So every single web page that you visit is simply a series of these 3 C's. So let me show you. The first thing I need to add, and it's the bottom layer, is the first C. So I'm going to click on the plus. I'm going to show you the interface here in a moment, but I want you to understand the 3 C's first. So first thing we need to do is have a container. Now with Cadence blocks, it's called a row. So here it is. It's a row layout. I could search for it, but it's right here. So I'm adding that to my page. And so this is our first C. Now inside of this container, we're going to have columns. Now, there are some settings for the container, such as a background color, background image, background video. There's different spacing options. So everything goes into a container. So the next layer, the second C, is columns. Now, when you add that first C, the container, which is this row, we can choose the column layout that we want. So let's do something basic, a 2-column layout. Now just select that. Now we have that second C, which is the columns. Now columns have their own background settings and spacing settings and all of that we can use. Now the third C is some content. So if I want to add content in this column, I can click on the plus, right here. And let's see, I will do, and let's just put a heading in there. So I'm going to type heading. Oops, I should spell right. It's actually right here, advanced heading. We're going to want to do that. And now I can enter in my heading. Now in the second column, what I'm going to do is add an image. So I'll click on the plus right here and I'll start typing image just like that. Here is an image, and I will see what's in the media library and just select one of these images. I'll go ahead and choose this one and click on select. And there we go. We have our image right there. So this is basically the core structure of any web page, is creating these sections. Now, what ends up happening with the WordPress block builder is getting to the right C to change something. So if I want to get to the row layout, which is the first C, it's the container, like how do I get to it? You know, I'm clicking here and I don't know exactly where I am. Well, there's a very easy way of knowing where you're at always to make sure you're editing the right thing, because we've got 3 layers here. The bottom layer is that container, which is the row. But how do I get into the row settings? And then there's the next layer, which is a column. But how do I get to the column settings? And then on the top is the content. And that's easy. I can just click and I'm right into that. So there's 2 ways of doing it. The first way, it might be a little cut off on the video recording, is here on the bottom left. So right here it says row layout section, and it's showing at the end here the advanced heading, because that's what I'm in. So if I want to go up a level, I can click right here where it says section, and now I'm editing the section and I have my section settings. And then it says row layout. And if I click there, now I can adjust the row layout. Now, don't worry, that's one way. And I know it's cut off a little bit. The other way is clicking on this right here. And you can see here's my row, here's a column, and here's the content in the column, and here's my other column, and here's the content inside of that column. So this is how you'll always make sure you're editing the right thing. So let's first start adjusting this, and just to show you that you can do everything using this that you can do with any other builder. So over to the right, we have the settings specific to the first C, which is the container. So I've got my mobile responsive options, my column structures right here, the separation between these two. I can literally drag and drop this, or drag to adjust the size of these columns right here. And I can also adjust the height here of each column, the padding right there. But I also have these options here. So first, let's add a background color. So it says background settings. I'm going to click there. And right here, it says background color. I could just as easily add a video if I wanted to, or an image. I'm just going to add a color. So I'm going to click right here for color. And let's just choose something like that just so we can see. So this is the container's background color. Now there's also some options here for alignment. So every block inside of WordPress, you're going to have these options here. So usually for me, I wouldn't want the alignment like this. It's the top align when you have an image on one side and you have a heading on the other. So if I click right here, it's going to center everything vertically. And that's probably exactly how I would want it. And you'll find there's alignment options usually found in this area here. So when I click here for my heading, I can go right here and there's a center align. When I click here on my image, there's an option right here and I can align it in the center as well. And there you have it. This is the 3 C's of every single web page that you go to. You have a container. In this case, it's a row. You have columns. You have this column structure right here, and then you have your content. And once you understand this principle, you can build any website layout using the block builder. Now, if you're coming from a traditional page builder experience, what usually happens is the page builder will create the 3 C's automatically for you. So if I click on this plus and say I want to add an info box and I click this, well, when I do it inside of the block builder, it adds it to the bottom of the page and that's it. It didn't automatically create the container and the column and then put the content in it that you would see in other page builders. So when you're building with the WordPress block builder, builder, you always want to be intentional about putting in a row first. So I wouldn't do it like this. I would go here. Let's go ahead and remove it. I would instead click on the option here for a row. And then if I wanted it 1 or 2 columns or whatever column structure, I could do it there. Let's just say 1. And then I can click on the plus right here. And then I can put in that info box that I just put in. So that is the one thing that you have to get used to doing different in a different order. Everything you have, you want to set up this proper structure of the 3 C's. Now let's move on to step 3, which is understanding the interface. Now I know you got a brief preview of the interface a moment ago when we talked about the 3 C's, so it should make sense to you what I'm about to show you. So let's go ahead and jump into the home page and see how that is structured, especially within the concept of the 3 C's that we just talked about. So you can see right here is the first C on the page, and we simply have 2 columns here, and this has a few blocks, and this just has an image. It's a very typical type of container layout that we would have. So let's go over this interface. So the first thing is, how do you get these blocks on your page? Well, there's more than one way to do this. So the first way is you just click on the plus right here, and we have a list of blocks. Now, whenever possible, you'll want to use the cadence blocks because they're going to give you more control, and they're also going to give you mobile responsive options. So you're going to want to go with the cadence block. Now, here are the default blocks that come with WordPress. And here's some media ones, here's some design ones. So they're all kind of categorized like this. So this is actually drag and drop. I can literally drag and drop from here to here. So here's the button. I can drag and drop it wherever I want. So you see right there where it has the blue. If I let go, that's where it's going to end up. So I can let go, and here's my button. Now, if I want to see the settings for the button, I have to just click in it right there. And we have over in the right panel here, the settings for this particular block. Now, there's also settings that will appear right above it, as you can see here. So there's also some hidden in this drop down. So if I wanted to remove this block, I can click right here where it says remove block. Now, there's also keyboard shortcuts here that you might want to remember to be able to work more efficient. So I'm going to click on remove block, and just like that, my block is off the page. Now, if you ever make a mistake, don't worry about it because we have an undo right here. And when I click on it, my button comes right back. But you also have a redo option. I can click right here and that button goes back away. So you don't have to worry about making a mistake. Next is right here, which is the navigator. And this is going to be a list of all of the blocks and the entire page structure. And you can jump to quickly get to what you want. So I've got a row here, and then here's a section, and it's clicked on this advanced heading right here. So if I wanted to say get to this button, I can click on it, obviously, or I can click right here where it says advanced button. And now I'm editing the button. So this is very convenient to see where you are. So if I wanted to say change this background color that you see here, I'll just click anywhere in here, and then I'll click on the 3 lines, and I'll choose my row layout, and then I've got my settings here on the right, and I can go here and change that background color to whatever I want to. If I want to make it darker, there it's a little darker. I can have it be whatever makes sense to me. Now, the next thing to understand in the interface is everything that's kind of scrunched in over here, and there's actually a lot to it. So right here, we have our preview option, and I'll go over this later, where we can see the layout in tablet and mobile view. And we'll want to do that in order to make sure that it looks great on a mobile device and make those tweaks that we need to make. We obviously have our update button here, and then we have these icons. Now, you see 3 here. Depending on what you have installed in your website, it might have more. So for example, if you have an SEO plugin on your website, it might add an icon here for the SEO settings for a particular page. So it might show more. Now, the settings wheel is always going to be the settings for the block that you're in. And then when you click right here where it says page, your page settings. So this is where you would set your featured image and adjust your permalink if you wanted, some basic WordPress settings. but right here is the block settings. So the block that you're in. Right now I'm in the row layout. I click here and now I'm in the advanced heading and I have those settings here. Now the only thing that's a little weird is, say I click right here and these are my theme settings. So the settings the theme allows me to have for this particular page, which is the width of the page, and if I want to hide the header or the footer, all this kind of stuff. Now this is kind of weird. Say I want to edit this button and I click here and I don't see my button settings. That's because when you click into a block, it's not going to automatically change from one of these big settings panels up here. So I'd have to click my settings wheel right there to get back into the settings for the block that I'm in. Now here's some really important settings that I want to show you, and that's where this K is. And these are the cadence blocks control settings. So right here is where you could set up your color palette. Now, if you did choose to go with the cadence theme, which is free, these colors are coming from the theme. And there's many themes that also have an integration with cadence blocks. So their color palette will sync back here. Now, if you're not using a supported theme, that's okay. You can add your custom colors here that you will be able to select throughout your page designs. So you can just add your custom color. I clicked on that, and then you would click on the circle and then choose the color you want, or go ahead and put in a color code. You can even name this color. And if I click this little button right here, it's going to make it disappear. It's going to delete it. So I'll leave these the way they are. But here's where some really cool settings are in the interface. And these are default settings for all of the cadence blocks. So here are the blocks. For example, the row layout. So let me click here and it pulls up some settings that I can have be the default settings whenever I add a new row to my layout. So if I wanted to change the size of the gap between the two columns, well, I can set it right here and it will just be like that by default. The collapsible order, that's more of a mobile responsive setting. If I wanted to change the margin and padding for different devices to just have that uniformity, I could do that here, as well as the structure settings. I have that here as well. So you can adjust them, click on save and close, and you can do that for all of the different blocks that Cadence Blocks gives you. Now, if you're an agency and you make these websites for clients, check this out. You see where the little I is? Well, this is access controls. So if I don't want my customer to ever be able to adjust the row layout, I'll click on the I. And then right here, I would choose what a user based upon user role is able to do. So this way you can keep the integrity and the strength of your layout, yet still allow your customer to make minor text changes. So I would lock them out of any row layout settings adjustments, as well as most of these. And I would build out all of my text with the advanced heading and allow them to change the text. And, you know, you can have whatever control works best for what you do. And so, like I said, you might have some additional icons here depending on what tools you have installed on your website. And last, we got these three little dots right here. So this is going to change the interface here and how it looks. So first of all is our three views right here. I like to leave it how it is personally in full screen mode. However, watch what happens when I do a top toolbar. Keep an eye on this toolbar. When I choose top toolbar, what was above my block moved all the way up here. So now when I'm in a particular block and before it was showing me that those options right above it, you won't get that anymore with this view. I personally have tried this and I don't really like it that much. I prefer having it right where I am, but there might be, everyone's different. You might have your own preferences. So if I'm editing this text and I want to change the alignment, I don't want to move all the way up here and change it, click on the alignment button. So that's completely up to you. Now let's take a look at spotlight mode right here. And this basically what it does is it makes everything you're not editing kind of fade away. So you see how my font here is very easy to see and everything else is just faded away. So if I click here, now I see the text really good and everything else is faded away. So you may or may not want it this way. I don't like this mode really either. So I'm going to get rid of that top toolbar and I'm going to get rid of that spotlight mode. And what full screen mode is when you're editing your page, it's full screen. And if I uncheck this, we get that WordPress stuff right back. So it's up to you. I prefer full screen mode. I'm very much used to it right now. Next, we have the visual editor and the code editor. So if you want to see the code that is generating this, you click right here where it says code editor, and there you have it. I'll be leaving mine on visual editor right here for sure. Next, it's listing out the plugins that are adding panels. So the page settings one is coming from my theme, and this cadence blocks control is coming from the cadence blocks plugin. And we have a few other options right here. So we have the block manager, which is, let's just take a look at it. So every single block that I'm going to use, I can choose to not have them display as an option. And so you might want to do this if you know you're going to use the cadence block over a particular block that you don't want to see there. Reusable blocks, I'm going to go over that later. If you want to see all keyboard shortcuts, you can click right here and it will be a list of all of the various keyboard shortcuts. Those are good to remember. We have a copy all content. When I click on this, it's going to literally copy all the content of this page, and you can literally paste it into a notepad document or into a different website. It literally goes site to site. It's really cool. And then we have this preference option right here. I never adjust these options, but you might want to go through them just to be familiar with them. So we have some appearance options, some block options right here, and then some of the panels. These were on the page settings. So if I didn't ever want to see the discussion option, I can toggle that off and never see it. So this replaces the screen options setting that is in other areas of WordPress. Now we're in step 4, and I want to show you some speed tips to build out better looking websites and having it just be an easier, more enjoyable process. So there's a couple really cool options that we have. The first one I want to go over is coming from the Cadence Blocks package, and I'm so glad that they have this in there. It's called Copy and Paste Styles. So when I click on, say, this headline element, you see this icon right here, and when you hover over it, it says Copy and Paste Styles. When you click on it, it says Copy Style, and it's going to copy the styles, not the content, just the style. So if I wanted to, this is using the same block, if I wanted to paste the style here, I can click right there and choose to paste the styles. You see that? And it pastes the exact style in. So I don't have to go through and set it all up again for this. It works great with buttons. So I'm going to click right here, and this is the advanced button module. I'll click here to add a button, and you can see it's adding the proper style, but let me go ahead and click something here. And there we go. So I just messed my button up. So say I'm tweaking it and I just like screwed my button up. It doesn't look right. I can click on this button, and for buttons, it moves the copy and paste style option to right here. So I can go there, copy my style. I'm going to click on this button and I'll click there and I'll paste my style right in. So that's how you can do it with buttons. There's lots of great uses of this, especially when you're using or you're setting up the structure for the 3 C's, right? So we have the column container and we might want to change that. So let me go ahead and click into this, and I'm in what's called an info box. Well, I've got my copy and paste style here as well. So if I wanted to say change something here, so let's say the media setting, which is this little icon, is a little small. Let's go ahead and change that. So maybe I want that to be a 55 or whatever it is. But it would be very tedious to manually do that for everything in this grid right here. That'd be doing it 6 times. Well, I can go here, copy style, click right here, and then I can go and I can paste my style in just like that. And I would just do it for each of these. It's very point and click easy. So that is one of the things that you can do to really speed up the pace with which you build out your layout, is using this copy and paste styles, which is why I recommend using the cadence blocks where possible, because you can use this copy and paste style and get the mobile responsive options, which I'll be showing you here in a moment. Okay, the next cool trick in this step is reusable content. So anything that you have on any of your layouts, you could make reusable. Basically, you would save it and it's saved into this area called reusable content, and you can reuse it on any other page on your website. And what's nice, if you want to make a change to it, every place you've linked it to will change. So you see this a lot of times when you have a call to action in the footer. So here's our footer, or right above the footer, the end of our page, and I wanted this same thing on the bottom of every page. So let's go ahead and make this a reusable content section. So I'm going to click on it, and what I want to do is make sure I'm in the row, and I can see down here that I'm in the row, and I could go here and I can see that I'm in the row, and this is the contents of this row, which is a couple headings and a button. Okay, so what I want to do is click on the 3 dots, and there's an option here that says add to reusable blocks. I'll go ahead and click on it, and now it's gone ahead and created a reusable block. What I'd want to do is change the name or set a name. I don't want it to be named Untitled Reusable Block, so I'll come over here to the right and I'll give it a name. That looks good to me. Footer call to action. And so let me go ahead and click on Update the Page. And you can see right here, it's saying, do you want to save the page as well as this reusable block? So I'm updating 2 things at the same time. I'll go ahead and click on save. And now you can see my name updated here. It says footer call to action. So now I will put this same reusable section in a different page entirely. So let's go ahead and get out of here and then go into my 3 C's. And when I'm in here, I can click on this plus right here. And guess what? We have this option here that says reusable. I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and there it is, footer call to action. And guess what? You get a little preview there on the right. So when I click on it, it's automatically going to add it to the bottom of the page. And there we have it. It's all linked together. Now check this out. If I change it on one of these pages, like the words, the colors, anything, it's going to change everywhere I've linked it. So we have this button that says Get Started Now. Let's go ahead and change this. So a second ago, it said Get Started Now. I changed it to Take Action Now, which is now what it says. So watch this. You see the update button. I've got the little dot. I'm going to click on Update, and it's saying, do you want to update the page? And as well, do you want to update the change you made to this reusable block? So I'm going to go ahead and click on Save. And it's saved. Now, let me go back into the home page, and you're going to see that button text is updated there as well. So here I'm on the home page. I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom so you can see it. And there it is, Take Action Now. So you can use reusable content like this in very intelligent ways. Now, the last thing that I want to go over is mobile responsiveness. It's huge. It's very important to go over your page layouts and how it would look on a mobile device to make those little tweaks to make sure it looks perfect. So we have this container right here. It's a row with these 2 columns. Let's go ahead and get into those row settings. So now I'm in the row settings. You can see it's all highlighted and selected. First, we have our alignment options. Always want to make sure people know about these alignment options to align the content vertically. All right, but what we're looking at right now is the mobile responsive options. So throughout the cadence blocks, you'll see these. So you might see a desktop, a tablet, and a mobile device right here. And there's also options for text sizes. So if I go to, not the color settings, if I went to, actually, I'll probably have to click on the text for that. Anyways, so let's go ahead and click on the mobile device. And when I do that, it changes it to the mobile device view. So you can choose how your columns are going to stack on a mobile device. So here we have the above each other. So we're stacking them. But if I wanted it to be side by side or a different kind of orientation, I have the option here. It just makes sense on this layout for sure for it to stack like that, right? And then we have our spacing settings between the two columns that have been stacked. And then we also have the collapsible order. So there's times where you might want the order to be reversed when you have alternating sections. We have that here, as well as all of our mobile settings. We have margin padding, different mobile background. So you would probably do this if you have a video background on the desktop and that doesn't work on a mobile, you would do something different on the mobile. So we have these options right here. Okay, so now let me get back into the desktop view and show you where else you'll see settings. So I'm going to click in the advanced text module right here, and you can see on some of these settings, we're going to see the little icons here as well. So if this looks better centered on a mobile, I'll click on the little mobile device and then I'll click on centered, and then there we have it. So you can do that how you want. The same thing for the font size. You can see it's all locked to mobile like this. And as you dig into the various settings, you're probably going to come across more that have mobile options. So these would be sizes and things of that nature, and margins and paddings. We have that all right here. And that's how you build full pages on a website just using the block builder, and you get to take advantage of the better HTML output. I know, real techie, but you get to take advantage of that for better performance. Also, I find it's more simple because you can't get away from this block builder interface. So when you pile on a page builder, now you have to become familiar with another interface and then another interface, and you're working in all these interfaces. It can get a little disjointed and feel weird at times. So that's why I think most websites really should just be using the WordPress block builder, especially websites that are mostly blogs or e-commerce, these websites that don't have a lot of pages to it, and you're going to have to use Gutenberg anyway. You might as well just use it for your entire website. For example, e-commerce or a learning management website. It just makes sense to do the whole thing using the WordPress block builder, getting all the advantages. If you notice, nothing needed to be purchased throughout this video except web hosting, but of course you need web hosting. Now, there is a pro version of Cadence blocks that adds some really useful blocks that I use. And there's like a modal pop-up, there's more advanced post grids, there's all kinds of things like that it comes with, but you can get away totally fine using the free version. And if you chose to use the free Cadence theme, there's also a pro version of that that has a lot of great features that I end up using myself as well. So anyways, that is the full tutorial on how to just use WordPress, just WordPress. It's 2021, just WordPress. It's all that you need. Hey, I need your help right now in this video. I need you to give it a thumbs up. It'll help more people see this video. And if you're not subscribed, consider just hitting that subscribe button and becoming a regular subscriber here on the channel, and ask any kind of questions that you want down in the comment section. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.